This is episode 754, 365 Inclusive Learning Strategies to Help Every Child. Teachers, do you have a Donors Choose project? Are you seeking funding? Today's sponsor, Advancement Courses, is donating 10% of the proceeds from their courses to help fund projects like yours. Stay tuned at the end of the show and learn how you can submit your courses for funding consideration.
Welcome to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast, hosted by author, educator, speaker, and mom, the Cool Cat teacher, Vicki Davis.
Today, we're talking with my friend, Karen Janowski. She is co-author of Inclusive Learning 365. And actually, Karen, you've got 366 strategies in there, don't you?
We do. We've got a bonus strategy. And that last one, you have to buy the book, but the last one is probably the most important one of all.
Cool. So it's Edtech Strategies for every single day of the year. So you can kind of work through it. It can be your own personal PD. I know you've got book studies. You said MassQ is doing a book study now when we were talking before the show. So what is the inclusive mindset and how can it impact every classroom, not just special education?
That's exactly the point, Vicki. Thanks so much for having me on. It's great to be here. Inclusive mindset, the four of us, realized that we needed to develop a book for those of us who are really passionate about reaching every learner and using educational technology because that is pervasive and ubiquitous. But we have to ensure that it's reaching every learner. And when we think about an inclusive mindset, what we're doing is we're ensuring that no one is excluded, that every voice matters, that every learner is valued, and they each come in to our learning spaces with their own strengths and areas to strengthen. So we're really coming at it from a strengths perspective, and a learner-centered approach. We actually have also recommended to educators that they change some of their vocabulary. So instead of thinking about calling them teachers, everyone is an educator. Everyone in the building is an educator. We learn from everyone. And we also want to help people develop that mindset of this is all about lifelong learning. So let's change students to learners, and let's change classrooms to learning spaces. And let's change. We always hear in terms of EdTech, is it engaging? That's one of the selling features about it. But let's think about EdTech instead as this is a resource for empowering our learners. And so some of the mindset means also vocabulary change, meaning let's put our learners first. Let's see flipped classroom, flipped learning as that's just what learning is all about. And let's ensure that we offer flexibility and choice for all of our learners. And it doesn't matter whether they come into our learning spaces, whatever their underlying skills are. It could be, they might be a multilingual learner. They might be a learner who's developing their reading and writing skills. It might be a learner who's developing their executive function skills. Let's ensure that our learning spaces are inclusive and set up to promote every learner's success and independence. The other thing, too, when we think about EdTech tools, we think tools first. Our approach is let's make it about the strategy. What we want our learners to do, what is it that they want to do? So let's put the strategy first, and then we add in some recommended tools. So the design of the book, like you mentioned, is there are 366 strategies. There's a bonus one. There's one for every day of the year. And they cover every strategy includes a brief description. It's 1 page a day. Inclusive unit uses, sample tools. We give some ideas of how they can extend the learning. We give them related resources, and we connect them to the ISTE standards.
Excellent. So give us a practical example or two, because this is, as you said, is for every classroom. And I'll tell you that as I've done work in differentiated instruction, and 2 of my 3 children learn differently. I don't believe in disabilities. I believe that we all learn differently.
Right.
I have become a better teacher as I learn to reach every child who learns differently. And that's really kind of what you're saying. So give us an example.
So one of the most important things to think about is what are the instructional methods that you're using with your learners? Are they paper-based? which are very static. You can't adjust anything. So the strategy would be, we want to ensure that our instructional methods reach every learner. So what does that mean? We want something typically that is digital, because then our learners who are multilingual learners can use translation tools and can listen to the text read to them in the language that they're more familiar with, they're more comfortable with. Also, we want to give them alternative ways to demonstrate their learning. And so we give them tools that can translate their voice typing, their voice recognition from their native language they're more comfortable with into English. And so then they can listen to it in English. So again, it promotes the development of those language skills in an audio format. Audio is a big part of ensuring access to all materials for our learners. And that's, to me, one of the most important things. Even if you're watching a YouTube video, turn on the closed captions. That can help many learners if they're deaf or hard of hearing. Yes, that's great. But it also helps our multilingual learners. It helps our developing reading learners. So those are using the audio supports to promote independence is the strategy. Mm-hmm. And there are many ways that we can do that. And it encompasses learners who are developing their skills across a variety of areas.
I have a child who's dyslexic, and dual modalities are absolutely vital in helping him become an incredible reader. I mean, he's now an incredible reader, but not everybody has mom to read to them, but everybody has the ability to accommodate themselves or to connect themselves by understanding how to use the tools. So,
absolutely,
dual modality is so vital as you work to reach every child.
Absolutely, yes. And you know that from experience. I remember that this is a topic that's really near and dear to your heart based on your own experiences. But we don't have to have, I too have my adult child. We struggled through school. He's dyslexic. So again, this comes from a personal perspective as well. But you don't have to have a child who struggles with learning. You just want to promote an inclusive environment that does reach every learner. And you're acknowledging learner variability, you're providing flexibility and choice. And so I do have a couple other strategies.
Oh, please share.
I have a lot of strategies, but even what we're seeing now, and especially when people return in the fall, I think, we're seeing a lot more school phobias. I don't know if you see that, Vicki, but a lot of learners, we see an increase in school phobias and fear of school. And I think now people going back in the fall, we may see some learners who are feeling more anxious about being in that group setting. And so managing anxiety with self-regulation resources is one of the strategies that we have. And some sample tools. We've got some free, awesome sample tool suggestions. One is called MindShift, and it's an app. And another one is SAM, it's self-anxiety management. And these are free tools that help our learners manage their anxiety, and then also come up with solutions for how they can manage that particular strategy or that particular challenge that they're facing. We have some strategies about research and studying or making STEAM. We have strategies actually around a number of areas. We start off with cross-content, strategies for reading, strategies for writing, strategies for STEAM, strategies for social emotional learning, strategies for executive function, and strategies for professional development. So we've covered a lot of different areas. And so even editing. So when you're editing writing, to minimize passive voice. So the strategy would be to work on your editing skills. And there, again, a number of free resources. Not everything we recommend is free, but and then assessing progress. Another strategy to improve your writing skills is assessing progress using the version history in Google Docs. So that allows us to see minute by minute how a learner's thinking evolved through the writing process. And there are some particular resources that cover many, many strategies that I do. Can I highlight a couple of different?
Sure.
I know it's all strategies first.
Go ahead.
But there are some particular tools that reach many, many underlying strategies. And I have to say, Book Creator is one, Seesaw is another. and Immersive Reader by Microsoft that they're building into so many different products. Those are some of the tools that really encompass many of the strategies that we've written about in the book. I have to give a special plug to Book Creator because, again, they are phenomenal in terms of reaching every learner and building in the accessibility features. You can record your voice in your native language, in your language that you're more comfortable with, and then listen to it, and then you can translate it right within Book Creator. You can use audio supports. You could just record your voice. It doesn't have to use voice typing. Even if you create a video within Book Creator, it will automatically add closed captions. And again, the closed captions can be in multiple languages. You can add in, Book Creator. It's just like...
Oh, my students write books in it every semester, and it's one of the best ways to improve and engage kids in writing. Just because, extended writing project, because they're writing about what they're passionate about.
Right.
And it's a great tool.
It is. I once worked with a fourth grader, and he was a developing reader and a developing writer, which meant he honestly could not read or write. And so assessing his skills, it was very difficult to assess his skills. And again, we want to assess them independently. So the educator created an assessment within Book Creator so that he could listen to the questions read to him out loud, and then he could record his voice to answer the questions. So even though he was a non-reader, non-writer, the educator could still assess his skills. How phenomenal is that? That is thinking outside the box, which is what we need to do, and come up with alternative ways to include every learner. It's all about inclusive strategies.
Well, and I particularly like what you've done with the book, that it's 365 and you can work through it for, a year or two as you learn all the different strategies. You could have a book club with your organization. You could also take I guess I call it the keychain approach. I don't know if you ever remember Kevin Honeycutt used to encourage his teachers, and they all had different apps on a keychain, and then you would have to pick 2 or 3 to try at a certain period of time. It also gives you a menu of, okay, I'm going to scan through and then I'm going to find strategies to try. And Karen, you and I have known each other for quite some time now.
Yes.
We won't even guess how long, but you're the best. And I'm excited about this book because it's going to help a lot of kids who struggle. So thanks for sharing the book. The book is Inclusive Learning 365 from ISTE. And you want to give a shout out to your co-authors?
Yes. Chris Bouguet is the brainchild of the book. And thank you, Chris, that you even came up with this idea and invited me to be one of the co-authors. We also have Beth Poss and Mike Murata. We worked really hard and long, and it's a very practical book. Just one other thing I want to say, Vicki, growth mindset. We think about growth mindset. We want our learners to develop a growth mindset. And I think one of the things that I'm hoping is that this book will help educators develop an inclusive mindset to really ensure that they are putting the focus on the learner and putting the learner first, that it is learner-centered. And so they are using an inclusive mindset to ensure that they are reaching every learner and promoting success and independence. There's a meme out there that says, "Give me more worksheets," said no student ever. And I think...
I'll tell you, one of my favorite tools that just differentiates like crazy, they call themselves a worksheet, but they're not, is Wiser. I don't know if you've ever taken a look at that one, but that's one of my faves in this area. So again, the book is Inclusive Learning 365, Learning Edtech Strategies for Every Day of the Year. Thank you, Karen.
Thanks, Vicki. Great to see you. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Teachers, tell everyone you know to submit their Donors Choose projects to coolcatteacher.com/give between August 18th and September 24th, 2021, and you might be chosen to have your projects funded. Since 2015, Advancement Courses has been donating 10% of their proceeds during this time of the year to support Donors Choose projects. Check out Advancement Courses for your professional development, like I've been doing this summer. So go to coolcatteacher.com/give to submit your Donors Choose project. And if you need some awesome PD, 10-Minute Teacher listeners get 20% off any of their courses with the code COOL20. With this coupon, a 3-grad credit course for continuing education, salary advancement, or recertification is only $359. So go to advancementcourses.com/coolcat to learn more and use the code COOL20. Never stop learning.
If you enjoyed today's 10-Minute Teacher podcast, why not subscribe on iTunes? You can also catch up with Vicki on Twitter at CoolCatTeacher or level up and learn with her blogs and free resources at coolcatteacher.com. Thanks for listening.